You heard there a spontaneous round of applause as the procession makes its way to a private interment.
Very nice, respectful round of applause. A day full of respect, full of significance and symbolism. I want to bring in our Lieutenant Colonel John Dinsmore again. We sat together and watched the funeral for Corporal Cirillo. What did you take away from that? You've seen this many times before. What are your thoughts on this occasion?
The overwhelming, genuine dignity of the service. The commanding officer talked about the three aspects of, or watchwords of the regiment, of the Canadian Argylls, being humanity, morale, and style, and all three were demonstrated today.
Yeah. Now I noticed at the end the carriers waited until the end of the funeral service to put their caps back on. Can you talk about that?
Well, when you are a bearer of a casket, you do not wear your headdress. So when your job is done and the casket has been placed in its next location, then the sergeant of the guard hands out the headdress and the soldiers put them back on. Some regiments where they have the headdress is more elaborate. Wearing them would be impossible to get that casket up on your shoulder.
Now we heard from Major the Reverend Canon Rob Feed, who clearly knew Nathan. Jenny Holland knew Nathan. Lawrence Hatfield, of course, Lieutenant Colonel, also knew Nathan. They had wonderful things to say about him, and you keep hearing about his smile, his fitness, his vigor, and his appropriateness for the job, and his love of the military. We talked about it beforehand, but that continued to come through this afternoon and during the service as well.
Yeah. And what we've done here, and the job is done, is we have said goodbye to a fallen soldier, and that showed all the way through the service.
It certainly did. We heard his cousin Jenny speak of his contagious smile and endless laughter, said he made friends easily. She also said he was sincere and respectful, especially to elders. Maybe that's something you can comment on, Lieutenant Colonel.
Yes, well, that's part of our training, isn't it? As it was written in the program, unfortunately, the most recent page in the regiment's history was once again written in Argyll blood. That was the message. But the regiment is his family, and we looked after his other family today as well. That's the job that we do.
And perhaps those are the images that are going to stay with us the longest are that of his mother and his young son with one of his sisters sitting in his lap. You can only imagine the sort of day that they are going through. Mother Catherine, just sobbing through that ceremony. Such an unnatural thing for a mother to bury her son.
I was very, very impressed with the words of his cousin who gave the words of remembrance, and a brilliant job. She did a fine job of remembering her cousin.
Of course, that's the Prime Minister and his wife just leaving. He, of course, is heading back to Ottawa as John Kerry, the U.S. Secretary of State, is in Ottawa now. He has laid a wreath about an hour ago at the National War Memorial. So Prime Minister Harper on his way back to Ottawa. During when he spoke today, he talked about how our hearts are broken at his loss, but our spirits are greater for Nathan Cirillo's memory. We're better for his life. We're diminished for his loss. And he also addressed the family and said that he really hopes that their pain eases over time. This has not been an easy time, clearly, for them. Go ahead. Sure.
The other thing he said was that he hopes that his son takes solace in knowing that his father was a hero to all Canadians. And at his young, tender age, it's hard to know if he even knows what has really happened to his father, but he will hear stories about his dad.
And he will hear them for many years to come. And he will realize the level of sorrow of the entire country, not just the city of Hamilton, the entire country saying goodbye to his father.
As Stephen Harper said, the entire country is looking up to his father today and for the last week. Now we have Nicole Martin live outside the cathedral at this point. And Nicole, I wonder if you can tell us what it was like during the funeral service. That, of course, has just come to an end as the procession leaves now. What was it like out there right just now?
Oh, it was absolutely silent. Barely anyone was even speaking while the funeral was underway, and many people didn't know when it was going to end. No one knew exactly what was going on inside the church, but it was just absolutely silent as people waited for Corporal Cirillo and the casket to come outside again. And as we can see here, people clapping and cheering for the Argyle Regiment on uniform here. You saw moments ago the casket in the hearse had made its way. There is a private funeral that is happening with the family and friends at the Woodland Cemetery. It's a private burial in the Field of Honor. But this is a day many will never forget. It's one of the largest military funerals in decades. And as the procession made its way out front Christchurch Cathedral, it was absolutely silent, as I said, in the crowd. And as we could see the casket approach on the gun carrier, people began to weep. Even more so when they saw Cirillo's mother, stepfather, and sisters Natasha and Nicole and the son Marcus. Hundreds of people, as you can see here too, remain on the streets. They're looking at all the dignitaries, military personnel, and politicians leaving the church right now. And again, it was just very, very emotional here. Soldiers, police officers, reservists stood on guard for Corporal Cirillo, as Cirillo did for them in this country last Wednesday at the War Memorial. And during the funeral service, Stephen Harper spoke and said, "Freedom is never free. It is earned by a soldier and donated to all of us." And he also said to Corporal Cirillo's son Marcus that the entire country looks up to his dad with pride. And thousands of people and military personnel also paid their respects with the final farewell to Corporal Nathan Cirillo in the procession. And again, approximately 4,500 people with police, military, firefighters, and 1,000 servicemen and women with the armed forces were in the procession. But again, we're getting a look here at James Street North, and we can just see hundreds of people that came out from the church. The church holds about 700, but there were 800 people at least inside for the funeral service. And again, many people from Hamilton and all over Canada here on the streets paying their final respects for Corporal Nathan Cirillo. I'll send it back to you, Nick and Taz.
Thanks, Nicole. And I want to read the full quotation from the Prime Minister saying that he hopes the soldier's young son may someday find comfort in the fact that the entire country looks up to his father with pride, gratitude, and deep, abiding respect.
Certainly, the procession has now made its way close to the Hamilton City Centre. We have a live shot now at this point where you can see it's once again halted. Lisa Hefner, pardon me, is live out there as well. Lisa, I know you were inside the First Ontario Centre during the service. Can you tell us what it was like in there?
Yeah, so there was about 1,000 servicemen and women in the center block. We all were watching the screens in the middle. The entire service was broadcast for us there. There were maybe a few hundred just regular members of the public sitting in the stands around also watching. It was very silent, very respectful, same sort of situation that we see out here on the street. And lots of police, lots of security also walking around, police dogs everywhere you look. So it's a little bit of a different sort of event at First Ontario Centre. For sure. It looks to me now that everybody has come out and we're all sort of lining the streets in front of First Ontario Centre, and I believe the procession is just about to come in front of us now. Firefighters, Hamilton firefighters erected an enormous flag over the intersection. They're standing at attention here, waiting for the procession to come